Hi, I'm Gail.
I'm Catherine. Welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined, our award-winning weekly podcast. Visit womenover70.com to learn how you can become involved and join Aging Reimagined Circle and enjoy free participation in our monthly online programs. We want to give special thanks to our sponsor, Women's Connection. It's a nonprofit women's group with chapters around the country. This group is for vibrant, accomplished, life-experienced women who connect around common interests. They empower each other to thrive and stick together as we travel through the stuff of life.
So today we're happy to have Connie Inukai in our studio. And after retiring from a 40-year career teaching technical writing at the University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins, Connie Inukai, now 77, reinvented herself as an entrepreneur and inventor at the age of 68. She invented the award-winning tip and split, a handy device that has a magnifier, built-in light, and a calculator that figures out the tips and splits the bill. Connie has authored multiple books that help others embrace entrepreneurship later in life. Her book, Retirement, Dream Big, Take Action, and Make Money, features 10 people who started business in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. A TEDx speaker and grandmapreneur, a phrase she coined, Connie lives in Maryland and continues to write, speak, and inspire anyone wondering what they might do when they retire. So welcome, Connie, to Women Over 70 Aging Reimagined.
Thank you. I love your introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love your mantra. Pain and creativity have no expiration date.
Right. I totally believe in that. And I imagine you do too.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems to be true for you that it's never too late to take on new challenges.
Exactly.
So please tell us how it is that you became an inventor after you retired.
Okay. Actually, I started becoming an inventor before I retired. I actually had to retire because I was so excited about my invention prospects. I was teaching technical writing and I was getting older and I didn't plan on becoming an inventor, but I used to go out to eat with my friends in restaurants. And it was really difficult because we couldn't read the menu very often. And so we'd ask somebody, like the server, what's good? Or can you tell us what's good? I can't see it, especially because the restaurants were so dimly lit. We couldn't see it, so we used to walk around to find a candle or bring a flashlight with us. And I thought, well, there's got to be a better way to do something. So I was coming up with this idea for an invention, and I taught technical writing. And technical writing is teaching engineers how to write reports for when they're going to be in their career. So they were all 20, 21-year-olds. So they didn't have a career. So I told them, look for a job that you would absolutely love in 20 years. So they all found a job that was great. And so I said, okay, now when you're going to have this job, you're going to have to write an instruction manual because you're engineers. So I told them how to write an instruction manual. And then I started writing an instruction manual for my invention. Okay, right alongside of them. But I got a lot of tips from them because they were very technical. So I was going right along with them. So then another assignment, I told them, okay, now you want to promote this company that you're working for, make a brochure. Okay. And so while they were doing it, I took their ideas and I made a brochure for my invention. And they had 6 assignments throughout the course. And by the time the course is over, I was so ready to launch my invention because I had everything perfect, almost perfect. So I had to retire because I couldn't keep, grading papers and working on my life. And one of the reasons I really decided to retire is because they were finding these amazing jobs where they were going to be starting out at a salary that was more than twice my salary. Me with all my years of experience and a master's degree. And they were coming out with a bachelor's degree and earning so much. So I decided rather than just keep on inspiring them, which I loved, I would start inspiring myself. So that's what I retired. And then I decided to launch my tip and split. And I had everything right there to go with my instruction manual, my brochure, and all these other things about my invention. So I had no idea how to invent, but I'm a quick learner. Well, not really a quick learner, but I don't mind learning. Okay, I knew nothing about inventing, but I mean, we have the internet, so there's ways to find out how to invent. So that's what I did. That's what inspired me.
And then how did you start selling it? Did you get a patent for it?
Yes, I have a patent. I had a patent attorney, and I got a patent. And as a matter of fact, it's very interesting how I got started selling. I always like to rely on people to help me. But when I started selling my product, everybody goes after newbies because they know we don't know too much and we're just so proud of what we're doing. We're willing to spend anything we can to get it out there. So I was paying publicists like $3,000 to publicize my tip and split. They got me nothing. Nothing. So what I did is I reached out to companies and I started getting my own platforms. For example, I got myself onto QVC, which is a very interesting story because every inventor wants to be on QVC. And so I went to a trade show, and this was my first trade show for inventors. And I had so many problems with my manufacturer because they never delivered my product. And I had a booth, a table, and I was the only inventor there without a table. But I still pitched my product to the group of QVC people, and they actually loved my idea. I pitched it with just pictures of what it was going to look like. And they said, well, this sounds really interesting. Why don't you come back when you have your product? So the next year, I switched manufacturers and I got a new manufacturer and I pitched to QVC and they all remembered me from the previous year and they put my product onto QVC. So I was so excited because what I've learned is don't be afraid of no's. When anyone tells you no, just figure out what you have to do to make it a yes. They told me no and it was reasonable. No, because you don't have the product. Yes, come back when you have the product. So that's what I did. That was my first delving into promoting my product. So then I got my product on the Today Show. I got it on The View.
Wow.
I got it on NBC News. I got it all over the place. And this was without spending money for publicity.
You did this yourself.
Yes, I did it myself. So what I did, because what?
And how did you do that? Did you just make calls?
Yeah, I just made calls. Yeah. Because I have nothing to lose. They can say no or they can say yes. And most of them said yes. So what I did after that is I wrote a book. I don't have my book here. I wrote a book to help other inventors or people who wanted to get publicity but were sick of paying people to get publicity that never happened. So the name of my book is How I Got My Product and QVC, The Today Show, The View, and more in my retirement.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So that was like my first foray into inventing and into getting publicity. So I got on all these platforms. I sold a lot of tip and splits, and I had a ball doing it.
And is it still available?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's this is actually it. And I have a new product that I'm working on. This is tip and split. It's got a magnifier. You can see it's very little. It's got a magnifier. It's got a light on the back. because it's not obtrusive like the light on your phone. And you can also figure out a tip and split the bill in 3 seconds. I didn't know how to do that, but I was lucky enough to be to have a former husband who was an engineer. I told him what I wanted to do, and he made the algorithms for this. So I was kind of putting this aside until about 1 month ago. And 1 month ago, I got a call from Walmart. And Walmart said, because I stopped selling them actually, because I'm working on something else. And Walmart says, "We love your product. Could we put it on Walmart?" So I said, "Sure." So I'm now selling it on Walmart.
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited because everything happens if you put yourself out there.
Right. Yeah, that's a wonderful lesson. And clearly you are a true entrepreneur through and through, because it's very typical of entrepreneurs to do the kinds of things that you are doing and for that to happen. So good for you.
Thank you.
Not everyone's successful, and you were. That's wonderful.
Well, I think that if you're persistent, and another thing at this age, it doesn't really matter if we're successful or not, but as long as we enjoy the process. And that's what I'm doing. I'm enjoying the process. And actually, I gave a TEDx talk last year encouraging other retirees, like people over 70. Rather than just sit and watch Netflix and be bored with their life, why don't they consider starting a business? Usually take a hobby and start a business. Whether you're successful or not is not the issue, but how to have fun with your life. And I actually, the reason it's good, I wrote an article for Entrepreneur Magazine called 6 Reasons to Pursue Entrepreneurship in Your Retirement. I'm sure you can guess some of those.
We'd love to. But you said you are working on something else now. What are you involved in?
Oh yeah. So I'm taking one of my other passions. And it's not a product, but I decided actually during COVID, I got the idea because I think I was inspired by Kobe Bryant when he died in a helicopter crash with his daughter. And I was feeling so bad for that family, but I figured his children and his grandchildren and all future generations are going to know all about him because of his celebrity status. But who's going to know about me? So I'm going to say that nobody's going to know about me unless I tell them. So I decided to write a memoir of myself. It's mainly for my family, so my children and my grandchildren will know all about me, even if I'm not a celebrity. So that product, that's my new product, which I'm so passionate about, and I call it Write Yourself Be. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
My granddaughter lives here, and she always says, "This is baby grandma." And she was looking through all the pages because I saved the biggest memories of my life that I want to pass down to my children so they will know all about me. And because I'm not a celebrity. So I say memoirs are not just for the rich and famous. They are for everybody. So what I did with this is very different than most people who write their memoirs. Most people write like about 200-300 pages that nobody wants to read. Okay. So what I did is I went through my photo albums. In the olden days, we had photo albums. Now people just have smartphones. But I went through 18 photo albums and I found the best pictures I wanted. Let me just show one of my favorites. This is a picture of my grandparents. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And every picture has a caption which evokes memories. So it's big pictures and small captions. The caption says, Grandma Ella and Grandpa Arthur moved to the United States from Poland. They missed the ship over to the United States in 1912 because Ella was pregnant and had morning sickness. the ship they missed was the Titanic.
No.
I didn't even know that story. My mother never told it to me. But when my grandkids read that, they are fascinated because my oldest grandson is 12 and he is so fascinated. Before he heard this, all about the Titanic, he watched so many videos of the Titanic. And now he knows that if his great grandma had been on the Titanic, we might not have been here. So I find all these pictures that remind me of my background, and I help other people find their Titanic moments.
How did you find out that story?
I'll tell you, because I was doing my memoir, and I was asking some of my relatives to help me with pictures. And my cousin Teddy, who's about 3 years older than I am, sent me that picture, and he told me the story because it was his father who our grandmother was pregnant with. And my mother never mentioned that story to me. He told me about it, and now everybody knows.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a lot of stories, and it depends on what you want to tell your grandkids. So I have so many stories that are so that I want to pass down. Can I tell you one more?
Sure.
This is one of my favorites. This is a picture of our boat. Can you see a picture of a bunch of kids on a boat?
Yes.
Okay. So when I was growing up in Cleveland on Lake Erie, we had a boat. And there were 5 kids and my parents. And we named the boat Dr. Skackle. And that was named after David and Rebecca, which are my parents, then Sharon, Connie, Arthur, Chucky, Louie. And when they decided to have one more child, we all took a vote. We were all like young kids. We took a vote and decided to call him Eddie, so we could keep the name of our boat and just add an E to it. So along with that picture, I have a little story, because we used to go fishing every weekend on Lake Erie. And we would come back sometimes with 100 fish, because then there were 6 of us. Come back with 100 fish that my mother had to clean. And one time we came back with all these fish, and one fish didn't die. So we put him in the bathtub, and he lived there for about 3 days. In my family, nobody ever used that bathtub for 20 years.
After this.
No, my kids love that story. It's true. We were afraid to use that bathtub because there was a fish in there. So I tell all of my stories, through pictures. And I try to think of stories that my grandkids would love to hear.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Are you working with other people to do this?
Yes, I'm looking for other people who want to do this. I've worked with a few people who have no pictures.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody who immigrated to the United States from St. Thomas, and he was divorced, and his wife had all the pictures. He had nothing, almost nothing. So I found a few pictures of St. Thomas. I put a picture, St. Thomas then, St. Thomas now, a bunch of pictures. He had one picture. He didn't know, he said, I think it's my grandma, but I don't even know her name. So we put the picture in his book, and he said, this is my grandma. I'm not sure of her name, but at least now I know where I got my good looks from. So we just filled it up with stories about, his life without even him having any photo albums. We found out where he went to. He was in an orphanage, and the orphanage later became the John Jay School of Justice in New York. And he, we just did a little bit of thinking. I helped him think, and we put together an amazing book of his life. But I like to use pictures because it's much more fun to read.
Yeah.
It's great.
So that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to pass your idea. I'm in a legacy writing group, and I'm going to pass your idea on many of our members really like using photos as well.
Uh-huh.
I like your approach. It's great.
Thank you. Well, sometimes because you're an entrepreneur, I thought about it, and I thought about how people usually write a memoir that's like 300 pages long that nobody wants to read. My grandkids love going through my book.
Yeah, kids love photos, of course.
Mhm.
All the stories that go.
So I pick the best pictures, and when I'm gone, my kids are going to come to a house full of shoeboxes filled with pictures. And I'm going to tell them you can throw everything away. I saved the ones that I like.
Nice. Nice.
So that's what I'm doing now. And I call it Write Your Selfie. And I call it Write Your Selfie because young people always take selfies.
Right.
And old people like me, we don't take selfies, but selfies are pictures. So this is Write Your Selfie.
Very fun. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I love talking about it.
I'm sure. So tell me, do you think about aging at all? Do you think about your own aging at all?
Yeah, I do. But I think about it differently than most people think about it. I think about what can I do next? Actually, in about 1 month, I'm going to buy a little retirement home in Florida with a friend. And who does that at age 77? But I never could do it before. But now I'm going to start something brand new, make new friends. I know a few people who live in Florida, and I'm going to do it too.
Good for you.
Are you going to be a second home, or are you actually going to move there permanently?
First I'm going to keep my home because I love it. And I have my daughter and her 3 children living here. So I'm just going to see if I like it because I have that option. If I like it, I stay there. If I don't like it, I just become a snowbird. I go sometimes and come back here.
Right.
I have that option because you see, I don't have to save up for retirement. I'm already there.
What part of Florida are you thinking?
Orlando.
Orlando. Why Orlando?
Actually, I found this place. Have you heard of the Villages?
Yes.
A lot of people have heard of it. I've heard of it. And so I went there. My grandson was playing in a tennis tournament in Orlando a few months ago. And I went over and I looked at it, and I don't know anything about it. But I think I like the idea because where I live is a neighborhood where I raised my 3 children. And if I walk outside, everybody's got little kids. Nobody's going to say, Connie, you want to go out to dinner? I just don't fit. Do you understand? They all have young kids, or the older ones have grandkids. I want to be in a place where I can walk outside and people will say, Connie, you want to go out to dinner? And I say, yes. So when you think about what I'm going to do when I'm retired, I have no idea how it's going to work out. But I have my foot still in Maryland, which I love, and try out Florida at age 77.
Makes good sense to me.
Yeah, maybe you want to do it. Where do you live?
I live in the Chicago area.
Uh-huh. Okay, my dad is from Chicago.
Oh.
I'm from Cleveland originally. And okay, good.
So do you have
Jerusalem.
any other words for the budding entrepreneurs out there who might be thinking, gee, I have something I want to invent?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say, listen, when you become an inventor, a lot of people are going to say, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And I'm going to say, just walk away. Don't listen to them. They don't know. They're just a little jealous, or they don't know how to take it. But whenever somebody gives you negative feedback, find people who will give you good feedback, supportive feedback. Like if I asked you, like you ladies asked me, what do you want to do next? You didn't say, are you going to finally sit down and retire and, just relax? You didn't say that because I think that's not going to happen. As I would probably say the same to you ladies, right?
Sure.
We're just always looking for something else to do. And I'm going to say it's a little difficult at this age. One of the big challenges is technology because we grew up with typewriters way before there was digital marketing and, social media. We grew up way before that. So I will never be an expert in it, but I can learn a little bit.
Yes. Keep learning, right?
Right. It keeps your brain active.
Yes, for sure.
Well, you also said how important it is to ask for help, to have people there who can fill in what you don't know how to do.
Right.
That's great. So thank you, Connie. This has been wonderful. We appreciate it very much. And we wish you good luck in Orlando. And,
Yes.
We'll see.
right.
And listeners, we'd like to see more of you at our monthly online programs. Make your voice heard. As together we change the conversation about women aging. Visit Aging Reimagined Circle at womenover70.com. And we're happy to tell you about another podcast you might enjoy. This is Jane Leader, and it's Older Women and Friends at janeleader.net, LEDER.net. Jane and her guests take a deep dive into the joys and challenges of being an older woman in today's society. Thanks for listening.